Free Guy is to Grand Theft Auto as Toy Story is to toys. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be giving you my review of Free Guy, the latest Ryan Reynolds film released by 20th Century Studios. Now, going into this, all I had seen was the trailer and the marketing, and I knew that it really revolved around video games, and the character of Guy, played by Ryan Reynolds, was going to have somewhat of an awakening throughout the movie. That's really all I got from the trailer. So going into this one, I didn't really have monumental expectations. I really just wanted to have a fun time. Did this movie deliver? Yes. I was actually pleasantly surprised with this one. I don't hate this movie by any means. I don't absolutely love this movie by any means. I think it is very solid, though. When it comes down to the premise alone, it is so creative and unique, and I think that more movies like this that feature massive stars should be made. Now, any movie starring Ryan Reynolds I expect to laugh in, and I will say that the humor in this movie works somewhat. There were a lot of jokes that I thought were funny, and some cameos that I won't spoil for you guys that are really funny, but when it comes down to the actual humor, there were a lot of misses for me, unfortunately. Taika Waititi, you know him and love him. He's Korg from Ragnarok. He's a great Academy Award-winning screenwriter and director, but his character in this movie, the character of Anton, is kind of like this big boss character, didn't really work for me. It felt like he was doing a bit of an SNL skit, and I'm not just going to sit here and bash on Taika, because I absolutely love the guy. This is not a shot at Taika Waititi. Just in this movie, his character I found quite irritating and annoying. Is that the point? Absolutely, but his acting might not have been my favorite. Now, I know the lines written from were meant to be kind of cheesy and almost parody-esque, but it just didn't really make me laugh, and I wanted to a lot more in this movie. Even when it comes to the actual comedy with Ryan Reynolds, a lot of the bits were funny, but sometimes there were crickets in my audience, and it was a little upsetting because Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. He's hilarious as Deadpool. This is PG-13, of course, but it didn't really land as much as I wanted it to. It didn't hit with me. Some people probably laughed quite a bit. It didn't really strike a chord with my sense of humor somewhat. One of my favorite characters in this movie is an actor who's great in prior comedies, and he needs to have a comeback or a resurgence. I'm all here for it. If this movie propels him to a comeback, I would really love to see it. I'm not going to say who it is just because I didn't actually know he was in the movie until I saw it, so I'll leave that as a prize for you guys when you go see the movie, but he is very funny in the scenes that he has. But aside from the fact that the humor didn't always land for me, the story itself is so creative that I was really immersed in the world. They do a great job of world building, and something about this movie that I really have to applaud is the ability for it to switch perspectives so easily and smoothly. And what I mean by that is there are instances where you're in this free world video game, but then it will switch out with like a nice little transition shot, and you'll be in the real world seeing the people developing the game, and the way that those two stories kind of paralleled each other, and the way they even interacted with each other at times, I found very intriguing, and was honestly one of the coolest aspects of this movie. And the way the filmmakers were able to really have this transition be so smooth, it allowed for the movie not to have that many slow moments. And because of that, there weren't really many pacing issues. Usually with a movie like this, nearly 2 hours, there are going to be slower pockets of the movie that drag on, and it's like, okay, this isn't really a necessary scene for character development. It feels a little fluffy. There was not that in this movie, in my opinion. I thought that it flowed very smoothly. I have to applaud the pacing, because oftentimes I come into new movies and I complain about, oh, it was overly long here, it dragged here. There really weren't many of those instances, so I have to give props to that, and that's probably just the charisma of Ryan Reynolds being able to carry that screen presence, because anytime he's in a scene, it's pretty intriguing and you're invested. And when it comes to that screen presence, when Ryan Reynolds isn't in a scene, you can clearly tell. But I will say, when it comes to Keery and Jodie Comer, they're great supporting actors in this movie. I absolutely adore the chemistry they have as they're trying to figure out the whole coding scenario behind Free City, the video game. And Keery is the man. I want to see him in more. I have not seen the movie Spree, but he's my favorite as Steve Harrington. Steve Harrington supremacy, Keery supremacy. Now, he might need to start shampooing his hair, but hey, I'm not here to judge. And I have to admit, this movie had a ton of heart that I did not expect for it to have. The way that the story was crafted, there were a few emotional gut punches and moments that really pulled on my heartstrings, especially in the third act of the movie. Now, there were times where jokes and characters that were introduced didn't land for me and honestly felt a little too cheesy. Now, I know a movie about a video game is always pretty inherently cheesy, but there's a certain iteration of a character that I found to be just flat out stupid, and it honestly kind of took me out of the movie anytime he spoke. And I know that might be the point, and a lot of people were laughing in my theater, but when it comes down to it, I think Free Guy is just a really fun time at the movies. It's nothing spectacular, it's nothing atrociously bad, it's just a solid fun time. Ryan Reynolds has that screen presence and charisma that's going to get you through the movie. It's almost a breath of fresh air when it comes to the video game genre, and while a lot of people are comparing this to Ready Player One, I don't see that at all, just because there's a movie that has IP from a studio involved, sort of. If you watch the movie, you know what I mean. It doesn't make it similar to a movie that has that. Whenever a new movie comes out, there's always that one movie that it's compared to. This is vastly different from Ready Player One, in my opinion, for the better. Free Guy is a very well-crafted movie. It's a lot of fun. Families are going to enjoy this one. They snuck in a lot of adult jokes, too, that are going to go right over kids' heads, but honestly, this was a lot more raunchy than I thought it would be, so I don't know how much it's going to strike with that family audience, because I know some families are a little stricter. I don't know if it's going to land with everyone. It might rub some people the wrong way. I was all here for it, and honestly, Free Guy made me realize that, hey, if I'm stuck in a rut or the mundane nature of everyday life, it's good to break free from the habits every time, because I'm not someone who's very accustomed to change, and this movie kind of spoke to me in that way. So Free Guy, very solid time. I actually recommend checking this one out. I'm going to give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. It was an enjoyable time. It was fun. The humor didn't always work for me, and it can be a little generic at times, but hey, it's a very unique premise, and I support movies like this being made in Hollywood nowadays. Just full-on, original, unique ideas. But that's going to do it for my thoughts on Free Guy. Definitely hit the like button, comment your thoughts on the movie down below. I'm interested to have a conversation with you guys down in the comments. I have no clue how people are going to receive this one. I feel like it might be scattered all over the place. I know some people have loved it. Some people are kind of in the middle on it like me. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you haven't already so you don't miss out on any future reviews, rankings, reactions, all that good stuff. Blu-ray videos, of course. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Now, did you actually just watch this video, or is the entire thing a simulation? You have to make that decision yourself.